Hi, so today's questions, the first one comes from Michelle, mum of Ethan, or mom of Ethan, should I say, in Johannesburg, South Africa. And this is about her child complaining of tummy aches before school. And she says, almost every school morning, Ethan tells me his tummy hurts. I've taken him to the doctor and they found nothing physically wrong. By the afternoon, he's running around happily. I'm starting to wonder whether he's making it up to stay home. Could anxiety really cause stomach aches? Yes, absolutely. So, interestingly, this is something that is so common. It's so prevalent with little children, and not even little children, big children as well, teenagers as well, and especially children who don't know how to express their emotions. So anxiety doesn't just live in the mind, it lives in the body as well. And then when it becomes a habit, because it hasn't been addressed, it then will show up in the body before it shows up in the mind. So your nervous system is always about keeping you safe. And they talk about the fact that we have a second brain in our gut. So our brain is always connected to our gut and vice versa. And especially when it comes to the vagus nerve and other nerves, they all run down to the gut and they talk to each other the whole time. So your senses tell you what is going on. So, for instance, when it comes to anxiety, something might have happened. Anxiety is usually a worry about the future, and it's usually about, can I cope? Am I going to feel safe there or with that person? But it can also work in a situation where, for instance, Ethan might have started school, something happened at school, he didn't like it at school, a teacher said something, a classmate made him feel uncomfortable or unsafe or rejected or abandoned or whatever. And now his body associates that place with anxiety, it being unsafe. So when something happens now in the mornings, his body's going, oh, I've got to go back to that place. I don't like that place. His brain and body has associated that environment with being unsafe. But then when he gets there and he realizes actually it's okay, he feels safe, that's why it then dissipates. So it's like this apprehension of something that could possibly happen. Is this going to happen again? Am I going to feel unsafe? Is that child going to be mean to me? Am I going to feel rejected? Am I going to feel stupid? Did somebody make a fool of him or whatever? So, can you see what happens with anxiety? So, it's like, how am I going to cope? Am I going to feel okay? So, what I would suggest is that you try and find out what is it about school that makes his tummy hurt? Because his tummy hurting is telling you that he's feeling anxious and that he's worried about going to school. And you need to find out what the worry is about because you can't address it or give a solution unless you know what it's about. So, as I've explained in all my other videos, speak to him when he's feeling calm, when you're feeling calm, when you're doing something fun or creative together. And then saying to him, why does your tummy hurt? Or what is your tummy trying to tell you? Or what is it about school that your tummy doesn't like? You know, when you talk in their sort of language, they'll be able to say to you, he might be able to say to you, well, you know, my tummy hurt the other day when I ate something bad at school. Or my tummy hurt the other day when David said that I was stupid. Or and then you track back to when this tummy ache started happening. And then the minute you know what it is, you can then address it. So if it was something that he ate, you can just say, well, you know what? Instead of eating that, why don't you try that? Because sometimes we do get tummy aches from eating certain foods, but that doesn't mean that all foods are bad. It just means that your tummy didn't like that food. So your tummy is telling you that it doesn't want to eat that again. So if you avoid that and don't eat that again, your tummy will be okay. If it's about a person, you can say, well, you know what? Just because he said that, Doesn't make it true. Sometimes people are nasty and sometimes people say nasty things, but it doesn't make it true. It just means that they feel bad about themselves and they like to then make other people feel bad about themselves. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're stupid. It's just that's the way human beings are. Sometimes we say things and it's hurtful and some people don't think it's hurtful. So you've got to give him some explanation so that it will soothe the mind to know that, well, actually, just because that one incident caused anxiety and discomfort doesn't mean that everything else will. But then also say to him, it's going to happen sometimes. And you know what? You're going to be okay. You were okay. It felt uncomfortable when it happened, but then you were okay. You got better. So you've got to train his brain in a way, his mind to go, well, yes, that happened. That was uncomfortable, but you were okay. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. But if it does happen again, remember, you were okay. So you almost like closing the loop because with anxiety, it's like the brain opens a loop, something has happened, and now the loop stays open. It's like a stuck record. It just keeps going around and around and around and around. But when you close the loop, when you give it the solution, when you give it the answer, then it will stop. The brain and the mind will stop ruminating. So you've got to help him to close that loop. The other thing that you can do is look at the tools that I've released, the other short videos that I've released with all the tools, and help him to calm his nervous system down before he goes to school. So come up with like a little ritual or something before school. Now, I know that in the beginning of the day and when you're rushing to school, it's usually a rush, right? So you're saying to me, oh my gosh, now you want me to fit something in before he goes to school. Well, you know what? You can do it while you're getting ready for school. So, and if you're walking to school, you can include it then. If you're driving to school, you can do it in the car. But find a little space, even when he's brushing his teeth, when he's getting dressed, find one of those tools that work for both of you and then include it in the routine before he goes to school. So it could be simple things like where he's calming his nervous system down by rubbing his arms, rubbing his hands, brushing his teeth, looking at himself in the mirror and going, you're an amazing kid, you know, you are safe, you are fine. Just come up with an affirmation that works for you while you're doing that. But look at the different tools that I've included. Bit of breathing. You can do it first thing in the morning when he wakes up. You can do a bit of heart-centered breathing, which is all about just putting one hand on the heart area and one on the belly, and just closing his eyes. And then you're breathing in 5 times. And then breathing out, and while actually thinking about himself going to school and seeing himself being okay. This one is super effective. You can do that in the morning, just when he wakes up, as he wakes up. Just do that for a few minutes and then again before bedtime because that will prepare him for the morning as well. Because often children who feel anxious, they go to school, or should I say, they go to bed feeling anxious already as well. And you want to include like a little bit of a nighttime routine where he goes to bed at the same time. You take screens away, you do story time, you maybe talk for a little bit, and then he does a couple of these tools so he goes to bed, going to sleep feeling calm. So this one is fantastic. The breathing and the visualization where he actually sees himself as being happy at school, being safe at school, that everything is okay at school. It takes literally 3 to 5 minutes, and you'll find that that is going to retrain his nervous system and his mind that everything is safe and the environment is safe. Okay, let me know how it goes. I love getting feedback about how things go. Okay, so that is it for this session. Um, we've got 2 more weeks left of, no, I lie. We've got 3 more weeks left of focusing on anxiety. So if your child or you are struggling with anxiety and you just need a little bit of help and advice on how to cope with it, how to help your child with it, do submit your questions below. If you're not sure if it's anxiety, ask me that as well. And do look out for all those tools, those little short videos that I'm releasing every week. that helps you with those tools. Incorporate them into your day, incorporate them into your life so it will calm your nervous system down, help your child's nervous system to calm down. And do check out the resources down below as well with the link where you can, the link below where you can submit your question as well. You take care, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Lots of love.